Morning guys, Ben CG here. So welcome to Lisbon in Portugal with me once again. Okay, so I've had my little breakfast of a croissant and I'm on my way to Belém now in the west of the city, where I'm going to be discovering a bit of Portugal's colonial history. And yeah, to get there I'm going to be taking the tram, but it's not one of those charming old style trams, it's one of the more modern trams. But that doesn't matter, it's the cheapest way to get to Belém as far as I know. That was excruciating. Hot country, trams, packed with people, no air conditioning. What? What, Portugal? What? Air conditioning, come on. It's not hard. It's cooler out here than it was on the tram. Right, I'm in Belém. Get my bearings, find out where the hell I am. Alright, mission successful. I've got my cream on and I'm all protected for the day, and I had a nice bit of water. Very important to stay hydrated in this kind of weather. Look at this. Isn't this lovely? What a nice outlook. So the first thing I'm on my way to see now in this part of the city is the monument to the discoveries, but I had the Portuguese name in my head and now it's slipped my mind. Let me get my Google Maps up, hang on. That's it. Right, let's... Portuguese people, please rate me on my pronunciation of this very long name. Padrão dos Descobrimentos. Well, this is it. Behind me you can see the monument to the discoveries, which is actually enormous. Hope I'm getting it all in frame there. So yeah, let's go and learn about Portugal's colonial history by taking a look at this thing. So this is it, the awesome monument to the discoveries. So what I've learned about this thing is that it was originally conceived in the 1930s and never quite went ahead, although they did start to build it. So the version we're looking at here opened in 1960, which was the 500th anniversary of, I believe, the death of Henry the Navigator, who is right at the very front there. So there are lots of other people that are on this monument and on the other side as well. I can't tell you exactly everyone who and which is which, but basically there are lots of monarchs and explorers and cartographers, like people who make maps, painters, writers, travellers. Somewhere on either this side or the other is Vasco da Gama, who discovered the sea trading route all the way to India. I mean, think about that. Vasco da Gama in the 15th century set sail to India. He went underneath Africa and all the way over to India. That's crazy. In the 14th and 15th centuries. I can't even imagine doing an undertaking like that. You'd have to be batshit mad. But this is actually where they set sail from. So that's what the sailing boat shape represents. Because this is where they left from. This area right here would have been the last thing they saw as they left home. Can you only imagine? I mean, obviously it didn't look like this at the time, but yeah, it's really crazy. And, you know, there are lots of other Portuguese colonies around the world, such as in Africa. I think Gabon is one of them, and I think Mozambique, but don't hold me to that. There's a few though. There are a few places around the world that speak Portuguese way outside of Europe, in Africa and obviously Brazil. You've got Macau, which is that tiny place in China, but that wasn't colonized by Portugal, you know, strictly speaking. That was gifted to Portugal by China, but it no longer actually belongs to Portugal, but they still speak Portuguese there. But it's basically like a Chinese Las Vegas. Oh, nice and cool here in the shade. It's huge, this thing. I really didn't think it'd be this big when I looked at it on YouTube. It must be at least 100 meters tall, if not more. And this beautiful square was actually gifted by the South African government. And you've got that marble circle there as well, which looks like a compass. So it's all very maritime explorer themed here. That is the Padrão dos Descobrimentos. That is the last time I'm going to attempt to say that. We have all the time. So I figured this out, right? If you want to pronounce the name of this thing properly, the Padrão dos Descobrimentos, to get that Portuguese tone to it, you have to kind of start sounding a little bit Russian, stereotypical Russian. You start speaking down into the throat. It's a little bit deeper. Then you start doing all of these shushy sounds, like Pata. It's like you slowed down your own voice and then made it into goofy. Padrão dos Descobrimentos. Okay, enough silliness, let's move on. Okay, so after the Discovery Monument, I just had a quick break. I think it's important to get plenty of shade and water. And after that, I heard this amazing song, and I had to just look it up on my phone with an app. And it was actually being remixed live by a DJ at the bar. It was a remix of While My Guitar Gently Weeps by Santana and Yo-Yo Ma. I've never heard that one before. I love it, and I think that's... Wow, I've got to look that up when I get home.
Look at the world and I see it is turning. While my guitar gently weeps.
Okay, I'm finally here at the magnificent Torre de Belém. Have a look at this. So there's a queue to get inside, probably an entry fee that goes along with it as well. But wow, very, very old, this thing. I wonder if I should go in or not. It's nice just to look at. Lovely place to sort of sit and hang out and chill. There's a lovely park behind here as well. Very nice area, right by the Tagus River as well. I've been umming and ahhing about going inside the Torre de Belém because I know there's an entrance fee and a long queue, but do you know what? I'm only here once. Right, inside and straight upstairs. Oh wow. They limit the entry to 120 people at a time, so it's not crowded, which is really nice. You can see right out onto the river from here. Kind of reminds me of San Marino, this. I suppose it's not hard to see the similarities, is it? So cool. God, what is it with me and narrow spiral staircases? Every trip I go on lately has got one in it. Right, we're at the very top now. This is awesome. That's the city centre off in the distance, over to the east. And that is the River Tagus going all the way out to the Atlantic Ocean. Nothing that way. Nothing until you get to America. Nothing. Well, maybe the Azores and Madeira, but generally nothing. See if I can squeeze in the little turret here. Might have to take my bag off. Oh Lord. You can sort of sit here and do a bit of a cheesy old Instagram shot. Hello. I don't do Instagram. Sorry. That I think is a cultural centre or a museum of some kind there. Really nice modern architecture to it. Ocean wave kind of concept going on there. Lovely parks. This is a very, very nice area of Lisbon. I highly recommend it. Get my bag. I feel dizzy. So this is the lower part of the tower with all the cannons inside. Sort of see what the whole point of this thing was. Stop the invaders. Da 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 da, invader. I'm not going to start singing Carrie Pummy in Lisbon, am I? And then you go down even further to what I believe is a dungeon. Whoa. So this was a prison. This is a dungeon. Wow. Mind the low ceiling, yeah, you're not kidding, mate. Oh my god. That's like the only natural light you would have had. I'm too tall to live in here. Wow. Voice is really echoey as well. Echo! Good God. Can you only imagine spending all this time down here? It's not even that cool, and it smells like algae, which is not very pleasant either. Very damp smell. So, that was Torre de Belém. Next stop, this. Mosteiro de Jerónimos. Mosteiro de Jerónimos. So, this is Jeronimos Monastery. This is really cool. There's a big garden with all nice flowers arranged. Okay, I've just made it inside to the monastery. Now, quick travel tip. If you're going to do what I'm doing, and you want to do Belém Tower and the monastery, get the combination ticket. It is cheaper. It's €12. I've paid for them separately, so I've paid €16 altogether, unfortunately. But it doesn't matter. I'm inside, and it's cool. Thank God it's cool. And my God, look at this ceiling. Wow. It's like a garden. Oh, isn't that beautiful? That's immaculately kept. This is like something out of a movie. It looks brand new. It's so clean. My God, Lisbon, look at the treasures you're hiding. Just look at the detail here. Flowers and ivy. Well, it looks like ivy, I think so. How long did it take to sculpt all this? That's where like a choir would sing. Oh, look at all this. Okay, so there's no direct route down to the lower floor of the cathedral. You have to go outside and around. Anyway, I'm going to go see the lower floor of the monastery now. Wow. That's so cool. God, gotta get my glasses on. It's so sunny. Even these aren't really dark enough. I need something polarized. The cloud looks like chalk. It's got that really knobbly, noisy look to it. So we've got this here, which is where you would come and confess your sins in confidence. That's where a little something would open. There'd be someone listening, and you'd sit here and cry into your knees or something. I don't know. Going into the church now, the lower part. Wow. Not sure what they're all queuing for. Not sure I'd like to find out either. I mean, I've been inside St Paul's Cathedral in London, but this blows it out of the water. And St Paul's Cathedral in London is actually amazing. I'll give it credit where it's due. They asked me to take off my hat. I can understand why. Coming from a Jewish family, though, I'm used to covering up my head in religious places, so a bit of a clash there. Doesn't matter. I just can't imagine how long this would take to build. You'd never get anything like this built ever again. Never. The only building that's remotely like this that is still under construction that I know of is the Sagrada Familia in Barcelona, which has like been under construction for about 100 years and it's still not finished. And they're still going to finish it. It's really unbelievable. This is why it's so important to preserve amazing buildings like this. Religious or not, no matter your persuasion, because I'm an atheist, I think it's incredibly important to preserve buildings like this because it's not cost effective to put this much time and effort into building something these days. Everything's too business driven nowadays. Do you know what I mean? It's like, why would you do this now when it's so much easier to just get kind of flat pack buildings made of glass? You really gotta literally tip your hat to these people that built these places. Well then, that's was the Jeronimos Monastery. Absolutely fantastic. Now, I think it's time for a snack, and I've got something special on my mind. Let's go! So I'm now on my way to a very famous bakery, a pastry shop called Pastéis de Belém. And the reason it's famous is because there is a type of pastry that's sold pretty much all around Lisbon called a Pastéis de Natas. I think pastéis is the plural. Might be wrong though, don't hold me to that. It's an egg custard tart with a creme brulee-like topping, and you can put icing sugar and cinnamon on top of them as well. And everyone comes to this particular place because they were invented at that very pastry shop. Even though they're sold all around the city now, the recipe is a closely guarded secret. Everyone that works in this pastry shop has to sign a non-disclosure agreement to keep it that way. Well, here we are at Pastéis de Belém since 1837. Of course there are queues to get inside. So here's the menu. And this is the classic Pastel de Nata, Pastel de Belém as it says here. Plenty of other things though. You can get toasted sandwiches with homemade bread or tin loaf. You've got wine, quiches, snacks, puff pastries and brioche. I'm just going to get what every tourist gets, I suppose, and just get a couple of those Pastel de Natas with some coffee and some water. Thank you. Wow, look at those. They're still warm, fresh out. Nice ice latte. Oh, that's very cold as well. I think there's nothing. Oh my god! Wow, crispy. And these caskets here have cinnamon. I don't know which is which, but cinnamon and icing sugar to go on top of these. I'm gonna do a bit of both. Oh, yes, brother, look at that. That's quite a lot of cinnamon there. Oh man, cinnamon and sugar really kicks it up a notch. That is the Pastel de Nata. I can see what all the fuss was about. Really, I can. Do not miss the opportunity to try some of these if you come to Lisbon. Nice house. Nice postcards. I'm a keen postcard collector, as you know by now. This is a very nice park here as well. Right, well, I think that's going to be it for me in Belém this afternoon. And I'd love to go and head out to the modern part of town now, as the evening draws near. I've been out all day, I can't believe it. The day's gone so quickly, but do you know what? All in all, Torre de Belém, the monument to the discoveries, and the monastery, followed by the pastéis. That is one hell of a day out in Lisbon. Thoroughly recommended. Right, hey guys, I just jumped in a taxi, and as I promised, from the old to the new. This is modern Lisbon. I'm at Parque das Nações. I think that's roughly how you pronounce it. It's quite difficult. But this, yeah, like I said, this is modern Lisbon, as easy to see. There's very glossy buildings all over the place, and if you're a certain type of one of my followers, you'll have clocked this building just now. So it's not been officially confirmed yet, but this is the venue for next year's Eurovision Song Contest right here in Lisbon. This is the MEO Arena. I was pretty much instructed to come here by a friend of mine who is Portuguese and is not, unfortunately, available to meet up at the moment because he's not in Portugal. So that's pretty cool. This is the first time I've actually visited a Eurovision venue ever. I'm not sure how to describe it. It's quite nondescript, isn't it? It's huge though. It's a 20,000 seater concert arena. Anyway, there's a lot of curious sculptures around, and the Oceanarium is around here as well. Don't think I'm going to go in because it's quite expensive, and I just paid basically for a taxi. I just wanted to make it easy for myself, you know. This is right on the other side of town from Belém. It was about a 15-minute drive, but the taxis were actually very reasonable. This cost me €13.80 to get from Belém to the Parque das Nações, whatever it's called. Anyway, like I said, I'm going to see if I can have dinner here tonight. Somewhere with a nice view. This Vasco da Gama Centre looks promising. He follows me everywhere. Can you see that? I just clocked a Sonic the Hedgehog balloon. There he is. Tempted to buy it, but no, I'm just going to look like a div, even more than I already do. Oh, air conditioning. That was alright. Had a mooch. Cable carsies flying overhead. I'm going to sit in the shade and just rest my feet. Avec des fleurs. Nice outlook into basically the Atlantic all the way out there past that bridge, which is, incidentally, if you can see sort of this, it's quite hard to see from a distance, but if you can see like this tower going up and then there's wires coming out of it, that is basically the Vasco da Gama Bridge. It's one of Portugal's big landmarks. So just next to the arena there are loads of restaurants. I'll be sure to find some dinner here. Have a little patience. This looks yummy. So nice, so fresh. Well, that was a very, very tasty dinner. I was going to take this cable car back over to the other side where I could get the metro back to my hostel easily, but they've just closed, literally just this minute. Never mind. It's only €3.95 for a one-way trip on that thing as well. That's quite good value considering you get some nice views and an easy ride over what's a relatively long walk. So, if you enjoyed this video, please make sure to like, comment and subscribe, and don't forget to go and see all my other travel series from Japan, Belgium, Slovenia, Hungary and San Marino, as well as all the other episodes in this new series from Lisbon. Thank you very much, and I'll see you again very soon. Ciao for now, guys.